Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to get into a little discussion of all the Trackman data that basically is covered under the PGA Tour averages on the chart that we looked at last time. As usual, here just kind of warming up. I try to hit about 20 or 30 wedges, just really focusing on spin rate, trying to get that face to path basically negative. So right now it's at negative 4.7, which is on the far right over here. All right, so spin rate somewhere above, we'll say 7,000, and we get that face to path a little open, just to kind of counterbalance the offset of the wedges, because I do play Vokey wedges. Unfortunately I have to play some offset in those. So anyway, zoom in a little bit here and start kind of paying a little more attention to the numbers. So Trackman data is really important. It does a lot of great things as you're going through swing changes. Basically, you're able to document and see fine, very refined feedback. So a lot of people ask, as we discussed in the video last time, I believe that face to path is one of the most important elements of a golf swing. Essentially, it's club face control. So if you can square the golf club at impact, whether it be you're hitting a fade, you're hitting a draw, or you're trying to hit it dead straight, that to me is essentially club face control. You're not allowing it to do anything outside of what you want it to do, which to me is, a major element of ball striking. All right, so we're kind of done with the wedges here. I think we've moved up to maybe an 8-iron, possibly a 7-iron. I am working on getting my hands closer to my body at address. I feel like I reach for the ball sometimes, and that can cause a little bit of back pain here and there. So you're going to see me fall off a few shots. But again, I'm here basically working on my setup, essentially my grip, and as always, my face to path. But there are other data points that I am tracking. So if we were to start on the far left, you're looking at essentially swing speed. Just to the right of that would be ball speed. Now these two elements are extremely important because they come up with a figure called smash factor, which if you look towards the center of the screen, maybe 5 or 6 elements over, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, so the 7th slot over, you'll see 1.30. That is called smash factor. That's efficiency of the strike. So essentially what it is it's ball speed and club head speed divided, and so you get an element of 1.3 times the energy that was given to the ball was delivered into the ball. When you hit a driver, you get like 1.5 times, which I think is the max for the coefficient of restitution, etc. But it's extremely important to pay attention to all three of those in unison, because you can have high club head speed, but your ball speed might be crap because you're hitting it off the toe, the heel, releasing it wrong, hitting it heavy, maybe even hitting it a little thin occasionally. All these things will affect your smash factor. So I would say that the consistency of the strike is probably one of the most important elements of a golf swing. So for those of you that are using an indoor simulator and you're trying to get your swing speed up, that's great, but just make sure you're paying attention to smash factor. If it starts dropping down below the PGA Tour averages, I would say that your consistency of strike is probably not good enough, and you should maybe go work a little closer on striking the ball well versus trying to increase your swing speed. Whereas if you have high swing speed, or let's say you're hitting it really well, your smash factors are very high, but your swing speed is low, then maybe go do a super speed program or something like that if you're trying to increase your distance. All right, so moving on, just to the right of club head speed, ball speed, you have your spin rate, which is the third one over. Because I'm indoors, Trackman tends to use an algorithm to, I guess, estimate what the spin rate's going to be. but you get some pretty crazy numbers, like, I don't know, like 6,274 or something weird like that, right? I don't know how it does that, but it does it, so we'll just run with it, right? The next one to the right of that is going to be your launch angle. Really important here. A lot of folks tend to be fitted incorrectly. They have the wrong shafts. Sometimes they even have the wrong loft settings on their driver, 3-wood, 5-wood, 4 whatever you play in your longer clubs. Sometimes they're just playing the wrong grip. Sometimes they're playing clubs that are really de-lofted and they can't get it up in the air because they aren't creating the swing speed necessary. So if these are you and you find yourself in an indoor Trackman situation, I think the best thing you can really do to get your launch up is to just move your ball position forward. But as you do that, pay very close attention to your attack angle, which again is way over on the right side. I believe it is the 4th from the right. So, and again, negative would be you're hitting down on the ball, positive, you're hitting up on the ball. So with the modern driver, we know now that attack angle is extremely important. It's probably more important than even the strike. If you're hitting up on a modern driver, you're going to hit the ball much further, in excess of 3 degrees. Rory has talked a number of times about hitting it above 5 degrees angle of attack with a driver. With a wood, which I believe this is my 5-wood here, just trying to work on this little tight fade. I've had a hard time holding greens this year on longer par 3s with this club. So my main goal actually, which I'm glad we're bringing this up, is to get the ball airborne. So I was paying very close attention to launch angle, spin rate, as well as angle of attack on that last, on the 5-wood itself. Okay, so here we are. This is just kind of a distance wedge I'm working. I've struggled to spin the ball enough from certain distances, specifically 50, we'll say, to about 100 yards. On harder greens, when you're playing at some of these higher level tournaments, the ball will stick, but then it'll kind of trickle out. So, those 2 or 3 footers that I get at home, the real tap ins, those were, out to 5, 6, 7 feet. And I just, I'm trying to improve that. So you'll notice here, I'm kind of watching for, I guess, shot shape more than anything. But what I do when I get home is I review my entire session, and I'll go through and I'll reevaluate each shot. So I was very happy with this Trackman session, to be honest with you. You'll see here, if you look up on the right of the screen, my dispersion with the driver right now is just absolutely insane. I feel so much control with it, but it's because I'm playing basically the old school Sergio fade. My launch angle is a little lower, but my spin rates are down to 0, and I guess too, Ricky Fowler played this kind of a drive, a real penetrating shot for years. I felt like he was one of the best drivers of the golf ball, him and Sergio. So, that's kind of how I've designed my game. So if you look on the top right of the screen over here, in Trackman, when you're doing this type of practice session, which is basically, it's the same software they use for the combine. You can pick on the top left over here the exact data you want to look at. So again, just going back to all these different data points, there's a lot you can look at, but for me it's always face to path. With the driver I want it negative, with my irons I want it near 0, with my wedges I want it negative to basically hit little tiny cuts to get more spin on the ball. That's very important to me. So face to path, angle of attack. If your angle of attacks are off, you're going to get really weird numbers. Sometimes you'll hit clubs longer or shorter than clubs that you're supposed to hit, actually longer or shorter than other clubs. So, you really got to dial all this stuff in the better you get and the more you're working at your game. And so as you go through this process, you can get inundated with data. So for me, I've knocked it down. I guess there's 8 different categories up here. I've got about 10 that I follow. But these are the 8 that I chose just specifically to work with the driver. And again, it's club head speed, ball speed, attack angle, face to path, as well as spin rates and launch angle, stuff of this nature. So hope you enjoyed the video. Man, I could talk about this stuff all day, but essentially I tried to identify the important stats, the important data for you, so when you're going back out to work on your game, you can be a little more organized, especially in the winters when you have to do indoor golf. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Take care. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that notification button. Got lots of content coming to you.